Hey, I'm Jeff Miller from ChristianMan.me. I'm a pastor and an entrepreneur, a quad vocational church planter. I just get interested in a lot of the things. And one thing I've been thinking a lot about for a while, I will tell you if you will like and subscribe right now. And if you will stay to the end of this video, then I will think of something between now and then to make it worth your while. When I had not been a Christian for very long, I came across the work of Pastor John Piper. And he had written a book called Desiring God, and I loved that book. And in that book, he talked about two major themes. One was supremacy of Christ in all things, which I think is kind of his life motto. And the other one was this idea called Christian Hedonism. Now, I totally am down with supremacy of Christ in all things. That's like how I live my life. The other thing, Christian hedonism, I was totally down with it when I read about it. And I want to say right here that two things. One, I have gotten so much out of the preaching and the writing of John Piper. So I'm a massive fan. But number two, I also know that like a lot of big ministries right now, his church at least is under fire. I don't know how much he is, but there have been allegations at their church of spiritual abuse, and that's a shame. So I know that there's two sides to every coin when it comes to this stuff, but I just have to say I've gotten a ton out of his work, and I love him for that. And God has used him mightily in a lot of people's lives. That said, I don't actually like the idea of Christian hedonism, and I don't actually think ultimately that it's that helpful for the Christian, and here is why. And if you think I'm mischaracterizing him and his idea of Christian hedonism, I would love for you to let me know, because I know that some people will probably be offended by this, having gotten a lot out of the idea. So hedonism is the desire to seek pleasure. Hedonistic desires are like pleasures of eating junk and drinking and doing drugs and having sex and all this stuff that takes you outside the bounds of what's healthy and what's good for you or what's pure. And the theory is that humans are filled with these hedonistic desires that we're trying to keep in check all the time. And Piper comes along and says, no, look, God put that in you. He put the hedonistic desire in you, but you're wrong about what it's for or how you're supposed to actually fulfill it. What he meant for you to do was fulfill those hedonistic desires with him. That you would seek pleasure in him. And that the Christian life is about desiring God. His ministry is called Desiring God. Is to fulfill those hedonistic desires for food or comfort or approval or sex or whatever it is with God instead. And the reason that I don't think that's a good idea to think is because the parallel for me gets messed up when I realize, wait, for a lot of years I wasn't a Christian. Hedonism was not my goal as a non-Christian. And I actually know a lot of non-believers. I work out in the world. I know a lot of non-believers who would say, no, hedonism gets in the way of my true desires for fulfillment. I desire to be fulfilled in love. I desire to be fulfilled in meaning in my life. I desire to make a difference in the world. I desire to make the world a better place. I desire to do something significant and helpful. So that seems to me to be what God has put into the hearts of people, a desire for happiness, joy, and meaning. Even people who don't know God, they're not, contrary to what a lot of Christians think, they're not sitting around just wishing they could murder somebody or wishing they could go steal somebody's wife or wishing they could go do something illicit. They're not thinking that. They're not sitting around wishing that they could go participate in some kind of disgusting, vile thing. They're not. If they feel those desires, they actually don't like them. So that's really not a good parallel for the Christian life. Because if we think that that's the point of the non-Christian life, and so the point of the Christian life is to take all those kind of desires and then thrust it on our desire for God, then what happens is we leave out a whole bunch of stuff in our life. So if I think the goal of the Christian life is Christian hedonism, then I think the goal of the Christian life is to spend time taking pleasure in God. Let me just take pleasure in God. That's the goal. That's what I want to do. But it actually doesn't tell me what to do about work, what to do about the meaning of the stuff that I do. It doesn't really help me with my marriage. It doesn't really help me with my parenting and my relationships. And I know that Piper's got good things to say about all those things, but I don't think that they line up with Christian hedonism. Because if Christian hedonism is the goal, go be a monk, go live in a cave and just worship God. But God didn't actually put us here to sit around in church. He actually put us here to work. He put us here to produce and to create and to multiply by starting families. He put us here to make stuff. He put us here to subdue the earth. That means take wood, subdue it, and make chairs and tables. Take silicone, subdue it, and make iPhones. Take crude, subdue it, and make all the things that you can make out of petroleum. Take sunlight, subdue it, and make solar panels. He put us here to create in his image. He put us here as delegated authorities on the earth to continually grow and create and grow and create and grow and create, multiply across the face of the earth, have families, raise godly offspring, send them out. It glorifies God for us to live lives of meaning and joy. The way I took Christian hedonism was that I'm supposed to have all my joy in spending time with God. And the fact is, I have a ton of joy from spending time with God. But if you don't understand that God intends for you to have joy in your work and have joy in your family and home life and have joy in the hobbies that you value and have joy in being a good citizen of your nation, even if your nation is mostly pagan, to have joy in being a good neighbor and have joy in those things, then you will constantly feel conflicted about those things. And you will have no idea what to think about doing work, what to think about building wealth. You will live in a constant, unearned guilt, feeling completely and utterly worthless anytime you don't just feel like praying and worshiping and meditating on the Word of God. See, prayer and worship are important for their own sake, but they're also important because they equip us and they fill us and they remind us that we can work for the glory of God. We can take joy in our lives because it glorifies God for us to be human. We can take joy in seeking justice. We can take joy in seeking righteousness. We can take joy in showing mercy. We can take joy in being generous, but we can also take joy in building ourselves into a person of marketable value so that we can go out and trade with other people so that we can feed ourselves and our families and we can grow and build and have dominion over whatever it is that God has given us to steward. You know, in the parable of the talents, you get the guy with the 5 talents, you get the guy with the 2, you get the guy with the 1. And it's supposed to feel good to take what God has given you and grow it and then present it back to him and say, look, and he goes, well done, good and faithful servant. You're doing exactly what I put you here to do. That's supposed to give you joy. And that has nothing to do with hedonism any more than for the non-believer that it's hedonism. It's not hedonism to enjoy growing in your work and building a sort of kingdom beneath you to steward over. That's what we're made to do. So then Christian hedonism breaks down. It should be something else, like Christian meaning. We should take pleasure in God. Absolutely. I totally 100% agree. But I think people that see Christian hedonism as the point, I see them get really depressed. I see them get really down on themselves. I see them really hating on themselves because they can't do it, because we're actually not created to live for pleasure. We're created to live for joy and meaning. Let this be the beginning of the conversation. Now, I told you that if you'll hang out to the end of this video, then I was going to give you a free gift, or I was going to give you a prize for doing that. I've thought of something. I have just finished writing a book called Rethinking Prosperity, or I might call it just the Prosperity Book. Pretty creative, right? I'm going to give this to you if you will go down in the comments and say free book, then I'm going to make sure you get it for free. I'm going to sell it, but you're going to get it for free, and it's going to be out pretty soon. I'm finished writing it. All I got to do now is have it edited, formatted, printed. That won't take long. So if you want that for free, let me know in the comments and I'll give it to you. I have put everything I've ever thought about this and everything that's helped me to become prosperous as a follower of God and as a human on the earth into this book, and I think you'll find it helpful. So if you want that, let me know. If you would like to go read more, you can go to christianman.me. There's articles on there. That site is under construction as of this recording, but you can find tons of articles there and videos about the Christian life and the stuff that we talk about here. And I'll see you over there. Otherwise, you can also sign up to speak to me. I have a link at the bottom. I'm gathering information all the time about what might be helpful content to you. So if you want to have a meeting with me, you can just click the link in the description and you'll find a link to my calendar, and you can get on my calendar and we can have a Zoom call and have a chat. I would love that. Otherwise, I want you to have a fantastic day pursuing joy, pursuing meaning, and yes, pursuing pleasure in God. Have a great day.